Hi all, I'm Cullen Haynes and welcome to Ledger Legends. An absolute pleasure to be here at 12:30 on Wednesday, 17th of July, episode 5. And my next guest, you're in for a treat. It's going to be a fantastic interview. 20 years in the professional realm. Previously, a leading chartered accountant at many firms at both mid and big tier, and now is living his bliss, helping others self-actualize, an executive coach at his own business that he founded, OLH Coaching. Could you please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Owen Hallam. How are you, Owen?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for that beautiful introduction. Really appreciate it.
Very, very good. We've already got people joining in across the socials. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok. I can see Peter Hunt, my dear friend, joined on Instagram. Thank you for joining, Peter. I would encourage everyone, this is live happening, so please put your questions, comments, queries, or concerns down below, and I'll do my best to shout them out and ask Owen what's happening. But let's start with that. What is going on in your circle of influence, mon ami?
Oh, what have we got? We've got a bit going on. Working with some organisations at the moment to help them navigate some challenging times, some conflict at the executive level. And there's always a difficult one to navigate. There's always so much going on the surface. And that's where people are looking for that support, that help, that lens, that external lens of objectivity.
And like in your previous role as a CA, do you think that helps you with that objectivity?
It does in many ways. It also helps me realise where people are focused. Coming in, having that corporate background, knowing how things work, how politics can play into things, and also seeing the systems and structures that we set up to support the outcomes of the organisation. But it's more than that. And that's what I've loved about the last few years, is discovering really what sits under the surface of it all.
Makes sense, my friend. Well, I'd love to put it out there. Everyone, thank you so much for joining the stream. If you're watching live, appreciate it. If you're rewatching, thank you. And also you can get this on your podcast wherever you consume them. So feel free to follow us and give us a 5-star, please. How would you explain your life using film titles? Just film titles, Owen.
This is a good one. Yeah. I must admit, I'm not a massive movie buff. So knowing the film titles, I can explain the more recent times, I suppose, to you quite easy. The one that comes to me is Inside Out. That's really
I love that film.
It's fantastic. I love it with my kids. I'm waiting actually to see number 2. The Intern is another one. It's really that leading, that mentoring, seeing what's going on and helping people realise it for themselves. Is a massive one for me. But I suppose the early one now, I don't really know the storyline, but I'm only guessing what it is. But The Firm sounds like it belongs in there somewhere too.
I think it was Tom Cruise in the original, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds familiar. Probably why I know of it.
No, very good. It sounds like a John Grisham, one of his first. So there you go. I love that. Well done there, my friend. Well answered too. But love to know what sparked your interest in being an executive coach when you were leading what I can probably describe to many people as a luminous career in accounting and as a CA.
Well, it's sparked partly from that. I achieved the heights of CFO at the age of 29. That was a challenging road. I talk about that many a times. It looks so glorious from the outside, but when you take that step up, that leap, it can get quite lonely. And it's difficult, especially when your predecessor's 20 years your senior, you've stepped in and the company's in a precarious position. It's who do you turn to and what do you fall back on? Now, going back 10, 15 years, it wasn't a time that you could openly turn around and say, hey, look, I need some help. This is a massive step for me. Yes, I'm obviously capable of doing this, stepped up, but it's having that element of support around you, those sounding boards, the people to tap on. And having gone through that experience myself, now is the time to be that person that I needed all those years ago, to be able to help navigate that. And just through my accounting career, leading teams, the thing I loved and enjoyed was actually sitting down with my team members and helping them see a path forward, achieve their goals, learn something new, and just have those aha moments. And that lights me up. I get so engaged with that. And when I discovered coaching, it was like, this is meant to be. This is 100% meant to be. So that's, in a nutshell, what's brought me here today.
And it goes hand in hand with our title that people see it on the bottom, like Fox News ticking across. You've got this, which you did a post about the other day. I think it was, no matter what you think it looks like on the outside, you've got this. And your catch cry, lead with clarity. I'd like to maybe delve into those two things a little bit more.
Yeah, awesome. So you've got this. So often we go in, that imposter syndrome kicks in, to really step outside our comfort zone, we take quite a leap. That's usually that bridge. If you think about Indiana Jones, and I'm pretty sure it's the Temple of Doom, when he's in there, the goblet, the chalice is on the other side of the ravine, and he throws the sand out to see the path.
Yes.
And in that moment, it's to reveal the path forward. And so often we take a leap, hoping that it's going to be there, but we actually have to take that leap to get somewhere. And it's having the people around you to help support you, navigate you through that is so critical. And leading with clarity is about recognizing that we navigate things, and people want to be led by authentic leaders. You've probably heard that catch cry so often. People tell you how authentic they are. First of all, if they've got to tell you that, they're not. Second of all, we are, as you've probably seen the movie Shrek, we are layered. We're like onions, and we will present. We will come across a certain way. People will see it. As you mentioned, having the career that I had, it looks so good from the outside. But when you really delve underneath to see what's going on, recognize what we are, who we are as humans, that's where the clarity lies. And once we can recognize what we're interacting about and how we're interacting, then we can actually get to the truth of things. And when you've got truth guiding you, that's when it makes things so much easier.
Very well said there, Owen. Very well said. And it's a nice kind of segue into what I'm about to ask. Like, in terms of that unearthing and that truth, is there a surprising skill that you've discovered in yourself, or that you found very helpful, that's not only helped you in your accounting career, but your executive coaching career as well?
Yeah, it's something that I look back on and see that I've had for a while, but it's only really come to, I suppose, actualization in the last couple of years. Give an example. Back when I was doing my CA, so what are we pushing 20 years ago? That might give an indication of my age. I'd sit in the what do they call them? Our focus sessions, I think they were called. I hadn't prepared. I hadn't done the questions yet. I could sit there and they'd ask a question about something, and one person would answer, give an answer, another person would answer, and I'd be able to sit there and go, hold on a second. It's actually a combination of these two that really gets there. So it's being able to listen to really what's being asked, what the problem is, and being able to filter out what's being said, what's being delivered. And that served me through my career, just being able to listen to conversations with people. Have you ever sat there and gone, hold on a second, I can actually hear what you're asking, but I can see what this person's making it mean. And then being able to step in and translate for the two people. Even though they're speaking the same language, well, I think they are, it's helping them actually understand the message that's coming through. And that I've recognized as my superpower.
Fantastic superpower to have. It's that like high EQ and awareness,
Yeah, and sitting as an accountant at times when your head's at times buried in numbers or on a computer screen, you don't often get to leverage those. And it's not until you start having conversations with people, listening and really listening to what's going on, do you get to unearth all that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people are joining and getting some value from it. If you just tuned in, we've got Owen Hallam, executive coach, former CA, who's here on episode 5 of Ledger Legends, proudly brought to you by CA Home Loans, Australia's only mortgage broking service for lawyers, accountants, analysts, and actuaries. Lawyers, we're still happy to help, but in our other business. Another question for you, my friend, is what is an effective leader to you, and how does that bring about self-actualization, or bringing up that person to the level that you would want them to be, as a coach?
So an effective leader is somebody who can engage with others. So leadership, unless somebody's following you, you're not really leading. Now, there could be yourself. You can be leading yourself. And
yes,
it's not about commanding, directing, telling. It's about having people come along on the journey, letting them see and helping them see what's out there, where they're heading, getting them on board. And an effective leader will actually create engagement, communication, and challenge. There's a big basis of trust that's got to be developed through an effective leader. And it's no longer the autocratic styles really cut it in this day and age. We are humans. The reason AI's come in is because it's come to replace the stuff that we do. So our challenge now, and as a challenge as leaders, is to really connect with humans and be more human, because that's where the change is going to be created.
Do you see many people are at odds with that, or any friction, or people are pretty open to that process?
Yeah, well, I was just having this conversation this morning. It is surprising how the times have moved. I personally believe COVID has been, they said it was going to be the year of clarity, 2020. But as we said, you got 2020 in hindsight. And if you look at the change that's happened during COVID, during our lockdowns, especially here in Melbourne, how it's challenged things, our working from home arrangements, our level of engagement, what relationships really mean. It's those people who have lent into that have really excelled and started to step forward. The people who are still, dare I say it, stuck in the old ways, it's all about how I'm seen, how I'm perceived, don't make me look bad, they're going to fall over very soon. And personally, I prefer not to see that.
No, well said. I think you're picking up what you're putting down, as it were, Owen. Well, obviously, you're dealing with stresses with your clients. You've got a busy life yourself. How does Owen Hallam wind down after a particularly tough day?
Oh, great question. Couple of different ways. I've learned to meditate. And actually, just before I got on this call, I jumped into a meditation, sat down, however you want to put it. And go back 5 years, there's no way I would have been talking to you about me meditating. It's been a game changer for me. Helps just calm, settle me down, give me my clarity with it. Outside of that, physical exercise. I'm a member of Body Fit Training here in Ringwood, and I recently competed in the High Rocks. If anybody's familiar with that, that's a fitness competition. And it's a great way, I find, for me to challenge my capabilities and push myself. It's, believe it or not, actually, I ran my first half marathon on 3 days' notice, having not run more than 5 kilometers in my life prior to that. And
good on you.
So thanks, mate. But the thing that came for me was a recognition and a realization that I was holding myself back. So outside of my work, my time with my family, I look for opportunities to challenge myself in that respect, push my own boundaries. But then the thing that I do love and enjoy is coming home to my kids when they're with me and spending time with them, having a lovely dinner, time together on the couch, that quality family time.
Beautiful. How many children do you have, Owen?
I've got 2 boys, 2 beautiful boys, 10 and 12 at the moment. And I say at the moment because they're growing up super fast. It
does happen like that, doesn't it? I've got an 18-month-old, and the other one is coming on the 21st of August. So very similar age gaps.
Yeah, congratulations. It's a beautiful, going through it. I remember when my first child came along, or when my then wife was pregnant with the first child, I had a colleague, he said to me, Owen, spend as much time with him as can, because the next thing you'll know, they're 24. And, that hits me every now and then. to go, yeah, wow, hold on a second. Kids to me really put a perspective on time, and they're wonderful. It's one of the best things that's ever happened in my life is having my kids. They're so proud. Yep.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about time. I often find myself when I'm doing the filming, we're looking at things and we're playing in the room, and he does something funny. I often catch myself saying, "Oh, I'm going to show this at your 21st birthday," and I laugh because I think that's ages away, right? But when that day comes, the joke will be on me because it'll come up so quickly, and we'll look back at those videos and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know. Why would you say that?" It's just such an innocuous thing to say, right? But I'm always thinking of that. Always try to be present. I don't want to be like cats in the cradle, right? And the silver spoon, Oh my gosh.
Mate, you asked me before what's pushed the change. That's part of it. I recognise that, and in my career, I would travel. I was out of the house minimum 12 hours a day. I made the choice because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Is I sacrificed my time in the family so my wife didn't have to. But
that's right.
I didn't really hear what the request was going on. I think when we were talking the other day, you said you've got time coming up for when your newborns come.
That's right.
For me, and I look back on this, and with complete 2020 vision now, 10 years ago, when my second son was born, I had 4 days off work in the hospital. Part-time.
Wow.
I say part-time because I was still receiving calls, trying to manage things, because that's what I saw as my duty. To me, I looked, my wife was okay, my son was okay, they were healthy. There wasn't much more I could add there. But I realize now how much more I could have added.
That's crazy. Like when you look back on it now, you think, oh, why would that happen? But you told me that was kind of the norm back then.
In many ways, and my peers, as I said, they were 20 years my senior. They're turning around and going, geez, when we had a kid, we really weren't even allowed in the delivery room. So it's amazing, and it's wonderful how times have changed.
For the better, I'd say. For the better. I've got a colleague that's having 2 months off. And I know some of my esteemed colleagues at Macquarie, paternity leave, are having 6 months off. And that's what they allow. I think it's becoming quite encouraging for firms to give that special time to their employees when they have this moment, because it doesn't happen very often. My father-in-law, Greg Coy at Optus, shout out to him. When he used to work, I think it was either IBM or Xerox, the managing partner wrote him a letter and faxed it to him the day of the delivery birth, and they gave it to him when he was in the hospital. I go, that's so crazy, like back then. But like the little touches and the little changes in tech and whatnot. But yeah, I think the same thing. I don't think he had much leave either.
No, and it's changed. And this is, I think, what we're starting to discover is the importance of the human connection.
No, very well. That is what it's all about. And on that human connection, human passion, any passion projects you're working on right now that you can share with us?
Oh, probably none I can really share just yet. We're getting there. One thing that has been a burning desire of mine since I started with this is actually being able to deliver. I've got another little, I say a little thing, it's not really little. My passion project is what I call mind fitness. One of the things I looked to do with starting in this career was bringing light to the stigma we've got around mental health. And, we've had it with physical health, now mental health, and this transition to the terminology of fitness, and taking a proactive approach to it. And for me, I've gone through a physical transformation as well as a mental transformation over my time, and linking the two. So connecting with places like an F45, like a BFT, to actually be able to partner with them and share this with their members, just to elevate the transition, the enjoyment, the connection that their communities experience. That is, dare I say, the passion project that's driving me on. That's where I see a bigger touch point, bigger reach, ultimately, where I can give more.
to a wider collection of people. You still enjoy one-on-one, but giving those talks to a number of people is amazing.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The level of interaction. I love working with teams, and I love working with groups of individuals, even because there's power in that. There's such power and connection. And when the good old saying that a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Two reasons that is. One, because we first of all can articulate the problem, and once we can articulate the problem, it becomes easier to solve. And two, so often when you share it, you recognize that you're not the only one with that problem. So that whole stigma, that shame that sits with it goes, that extra burden. So you can now move forward. And when we partner together, we can make greater change. So working with groups like that, I find super empowering, and I love it. I absolutely love working with the groups and teams. But like you said, the one-on-one, it's so rewarding in itself to see those aha moments that people have. That's to me is what I term as joy. I know if I shared with you, many years ago, I got challenged to define my personal purpose, my personal mission. And I summed it up as my personal purpose in life is to fertilize others with joy. Joy to me are those aha moments, those moments of clarity.
I love that. It's your ikigai. I just finished that book recently. Your life's purpose, your life's joy.
Yeah. And as I say, when you're in it, you know, and everything just flows. And that's what it feels like.
It's good to be in that flow state, mon ami. And I enjoy and I love watching people that are in it because it's very refreshing. I love Sydney to death, but walking in the city, when you walk into that office and you see the people on the way to work, I don't know if a lot of them are experiencing joy when I look in their faces. No disrespect to those going to work. It's obviously not an exciting thing, but I do catch. Yeah, go look. Yes. But saying that, there is about 1 out of 100 people that has a smile on their face that they know something that I don't or that everyone else don't. It's like, I wonder what's going on in their world because they look very happy, excited, content. And model those people. They've got something dialed in for sure.
100%.
Very good, mate. Switching gears a little bit, you were a CA, so hence why we've got you on the Ledger Legends podcast. For those who don't know what a CA is, it's a chartered accountant to school you all. But where do you see the accounting profession in the next 10 years?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question. Where do I see the next 10 years? Really more forward thinking. That's where it's got to be. Rather than, the accounting profession's been built on hindsight, looking backwards, reporting on stuff that happened. It's going to start looking forward as to what's to come. Really leveraging the technology and AI to help speed up reporting. And it's been for some time about, purposeful and valuable information. That's really what it is. So accountants are really going to have to probably step outside their comfort zone, build connections and relationships with other areas of the business to understand better what's going on so they can then translate that into the numbers that generate the results and forecasts and everything that goes forward that people make decisions on. That's where I see us moving towards.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, especially with the advent of AI and everything like that. Do you have any thoughts on that technology? Because people are thinking it's Skynet, people are thinking it's a fad. Like, what are your thoughts on AI?
Oh, look, I'll let you into a little bit of my world. Terminator for me came up when that's my vintage. Seeing all this
Skynet,
I was just like, Skynet, Terminator coming through. And then what was the other Tom Cruise movie that was like, we're going to get arrested for crimes we haven't yet committed, but we know that we're going to commit them.
Oh, Minority Report. Philip K. Dick. What a movie, what a book.
So, but in all honesty, that aside, it's powerful. It's capturing the knowledge that we've all got. And to me, one of the things I've looked on is that we can lose that so quickly. People learn all this stuff, but yes, unless it's recorded and captured somewhere, we end up recreating the wheel over and over again. So leveraging this stuff is just going to propel us further forward. And it's going to take us it's going to help us move away from, we're human beings, not human doings.
Love
So
that.
it's going to help move us away from that towards us being those human beings that we are creating a connection and really emphasize the relevance of relationships.
Very good, mon ami. And answering the question for those tuning in, is AI Skynet from Terminator? Yes or no?
Is that a question for me or is that a question for everyone else?
That's a question for you, sir. Come on.
Oh, question for me. Great. Oh, geez, that's a great question. It on the surface, it seems that way, but not knowing the real thinking that goes behind it, I'm not prepared to answer that just yet.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to open this up to the floor. You're tuning in to Ledger Legends with Cullen, Haynes, and Owen Hallam, my dear guest, episode 5. If you think AI is Skynet from Terminator, or you think it's a version of the machine that they use in Minority Report, predicting crimes before they happen, please let me know. Where do you think AI is going? We would love to hear your thoughts and any questions for Owen as well, please. We're moving ahead. This stream is going very quickly because we're touching a lot of topics. Yes.
Cullen, before we move on from that, mate, the thing I would say about that, it's not necessarily about the AI and the technology. It comes down to the people behind it and their motives.
I like that. It's all about the people.
It is. It always is.
Very well rounded out there, sir. Thank you so much. As far as we get with the technology, it always comes back to people. And I always say, like in a similar vein, as far as we get with technology in terms of graphics and video and everything like that, and 3D virtual goggles, the oldest and most powerful technology is text, a book, people's imagination. So it's a similar sort of thing, right? And that goes back to people. You can try and make them experience all different things, but someone's own experience is going to be most powerful. And I'd like to ask you, this is kind of a bonus question. People think coaches are there to provide insights and worldly wisdom, but I'm sure you'd agree a great coach just asks great questions and kind of delves into that person rather than trying to tell them the kind of, lofty guru on a mountain somewhere. Give me the insights.
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, before I stepped into coaching myself, I had a similar stigma. The idea of a life coach, I screwed my nose up at, because it was always a case of, this is how it's going to be. And what seemed achievable was so far beyond, but really a great coach, as you said, holds the mirror up. We help our clients to see what's really going on, what's under the surface. And it's those questions, and sometimes the insights are really just capturing what's going on and being able to play back. Like I mentioned it before, what I found my superpower is actually really being able to hear what's going on. So I allow my clients to talk, and then more often than not, it's just here. This is what I've heard. And how the light bulbs go on for them, it's amazing. And that, to me, sir, I think you just summed it up, is really what coaching's about.
Amazing. I'm glad we could clear the air and make people understand what it is that you actually do day to day. Could be accounting, could be coaching. What's the most unusual client request you've ever had in your life, in your career?
Oh, crikey. What's the most unusual client request I've ever had? Wow. Where to start? No, what I'll go to is actually one of my old staff members. The most unusual request I've had was, can you take my phone with you out to lunch and try and capture some Pokemon?
Oh, was that with the Pokemon Go phrase, 2016 onwards? My goodness.
Yeah, that was it. That threw me when I first, it was like, you want me to do what? So, but I see the fun in it now. But yeah, that to me probably would have been the most unusual request I've had professionally.
Got to catch them all there, Owen. Come on.
Pokemon. Something like that, wasn't it?
Pokemon, gotta catch him. But nonetheless, let's talk about people that have influenced you, who maybe coached you. Who has been your most influential mentor, Owen Hallam, and why?
There's been a couple of people, a couple of Rays, believe it or not, been my Yeah, there's
Shout out to
my
Ray
first CFO.
and Ray.
Yeah, Ray and Ray. My first CFO I reported under. He shared a lot of his insights. He saw things in me that I didn't really see in myself, and it was my first step out of accounting. And I remember one day he said, I was working back, and I said, "Oh, I need to leave. I need to leave early tomorrow. Is that okay? You know, because coming from the accounting profession, time is money." And I just, I'll hang back the next night and make up for it. And he walked out of his office. You know, it's on email. Walked up to my desk and he said, "Owen, you don't have to worry about that. It's about what you produce." And that stuck with me. So it wasn't about time. It was about value add. It's about the value we deliver. And then the other Ray Power is his name. I worked with him at my last job. He's a great mentor of mine and probably actually helped me to see more insightfully. To the point, one of the transitions I made, he asked me one day, he said, "Owen," he said, "what hobbies have you got?" And I told him how I used to love playing cricket. I grew up playing rugby, all this and that. And he stopped me and he said, "What hobbies have you got now?" To which I responded, "None." And that to me was a light bulb moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be when you get that mirror reflected back at you. It's like, oh my goodness, what do I do for fun? You know, that's
yeah.
not a business or providing
That's
value
it.
in the marketplace.
Oh, mate, and and that was a turning point for me. And the other mentor of mine, Neil, another CFO, very analytical, very smart man, but also a very good people person, and taught me about, and not just taught me, but demonstrated, you know, what it means to do the right thing, even though it may cost the company, even though it there's other ways around it. It was, you just do the right thing. And, you know, I've lived my life like that, but to actually see it played out by somebody else in the corporate life was very refreshing.
Do the right thing. I think that's very special. And I'm endeared by the some of the advice that those Rays gave you. It reminds me very similar of what Jim Rohn, especially what Ray was talking about. It's what you produce. He talked about value to the marketplace. If we got paid by time, they'd pay us, you know, basically when we're on I think we're back. Can you still hear me, Owen?
I've got you. I was just sending you a message to say I think we've got a little bit of a technical hiccup here.
That's all right. StreamYard does that sometimes, but basically I was just saying Jim Rohn always used to say it's the value you bring to the marketplace, not the time. If you got paid the time, then you'd be a millionaire. It's the value. So I think what your old boss Ray was saying is very very, very astute. I'll shout out. I see some people joining on Instagram. We've got Faith in AI, Kim, the Fifth Element Journey. Thank you. And Darcy Cara, one of our leading marketing specialists here at both Legal Home Loans and CA Home Loans, has joined. Thank you, Darcy. And she's responsible for all the great branding you see and whatnot. So very lucky to have her here. What would you like to see change in accounting and why?
Oh, what would I like to see a change in accounting? I think a lot. Since stepping out of the profession or out of the industry, I've probably heard there's a lot being changed, and one of it is really the support around mental health.
Yes,
and really the education on, you know, what I do. For many people consider as soft skills, right? The EQ side of things. But when you step into it, you really recognize it's the hard stuff. So it's about empowering people more to understand that, giving that sort of insight. Because that, as I mentioned before, to me, that's going to take the profession to another level. That's going to actually make a massive difference. Yeah. I remember one of my first corporate jobs, I had a sales guy turn to me and he said, "No, you're not like the typical accountant." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You actually want to understand what's going on here, not just tell us what to do." And to me, that's the difference where things are made, in understanding.
We're back.
Oh, we're back. You got me?
Got you. I think one of the sales guys said to you what?
Oh, he said to me, you're not the typical accountant. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you've come down here to understand what we're actually doing. You're not here just to tell us what to do. And that to me is it. It's all about understanding. Was it Stephen Covey in his seven Habits of Highly Effective People talks about seek first to understand, then to be understood. And when we can do that, we can bridge the gap so much quicker.
I love that. I love that. And our last question to close us out for the official part of the stream, how would you like to be remembered, Owen?
Honestly, I haven't put a lot of thought into legacy in that.
That's okay.
I think somebody really, I'd love to be remembered as somebody who cared, somebody who made a difference, and somebody who helped someone else see more in themselves than they saw in themselves.
And that's what you're doing every day. So you should be proud of that, Owen. Thank you so much for sharing your bliss, your joy, everything you do, everything you brought to our Ledger Legends podcast and live stream, my friend.
Well, Cullen, you're awesome, mate. I love what you do. I love what you're putting out, how you're connecting people. It's a privilege to be on this. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. And please connect with Owen on LinkedIn. Where are you hanging out most? Where can people connect with you, my friend?
Best place to connect with me is LinkedIn. There are some socials, but LinkedIn is the place to be.
Fantastic. And please do that now. Thanks again there, Owen. We'll bring you back for some bonus questions. And if you're a Ledger legend or know someone who is, please get in contact. We come out every Wednesday, speaking to both a legend of law and a Ledger legend as well. We stream on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch and TikTok. And you can get us wherever you get your podcast. Have a wonderful and great rest of your Wednesday, everyone. Bye for now. Take care. I'll bring you back. If you could give yourself advice at any age, what would the advice be, Owen? And what age would you be, my man?
Yeah, cool. Learn to listen to your gut. Learn to listen to your body, really. It gives you the insights and tells you what you might actually really be looking for.
I love that. I love that. And you got two boys. How would you explain your role to them?
Inside Out. It's probably as simple as that. The movie, boys, Inside Out. I help people understand what's really going on with them. And even though, it may be a stretch, but my kids, I have them watch Ted Lasso. And I introduced them to it, and they've asked to watch it. I think they're on their third round. And
good.
Really, it's as simple as that. It's boys. Effectively, I don't have a soccer team, but this is what I do with people.
I love that, Owen. I love that. Thank you once again for joining. Thanks for joining for the bonus, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks, Owen.
See you soon.